Welcome back to Embracing New Life, the podcast that seeks to have conversations at the intersection of Christianity and mental health, and conversations in particular with those who stand in the gap. And on this week's episode, we are diving into part 2 of our interview with Diana Sadler. She's a colleague of ours at New Life Resources, and part 1 was released last week. So if you didn't catch that part, we'd encourage you to go back, reference that, and then come back to this episode so you can catch both parts in their entirety as you learn more about Diana and what brought her into counseling, some of her background, and kind of what fuels her in this profession. So without any further ado, we dive into part 2 of our interview with Diana Sadler.
I've tried to do it, keeping in mind that I'm working really hard to not turn it into a legalistic, like not ritual, but like routine that has to be structured. It's morphing and changing, but the idea is that one day a week I rest, but I do that sometimes for me, doing the dishes is restful.
That's hard to imagine for me, but I'll trust you.
And that's one of those things where like it might not be for you. And so it's through various reading and things like that. It's basically, for me, it's setting aside one day where the things that I do are not about being productive. They're not about numbing things or ignoring what I'm going through, which for me, dishes, mowing the lawn, cleaning the house, those are times where, for some weird reason, I'm very present in the moment versus thinking. I think a lot of people use those as like a time to think, but I have noticed I don't really think when I'm washing the dishes. I just wash the dishes. So those are things that I actually love to do. There's some places where people will go as extreme of like, I'm not going to do anything on my Sabbath that would cause someone else to have to work that day, to like pay it forward in a way of letting other people also have a day off, which I like the idea. It's hard to do. It's often a break from technology for the most part for me.
So how do you do that?
I have a great thing on my phone, which, sorry for iPhone users, but you have to get an extra app. But on a Samsung, I can actually set my phone to turn off all its smart features. So I could actually completely put it in Do Not Disturb if I wanted to, but I can also leave on my phone for emergencies and set it so that only contacts can call me.
So you're taking a day off.
Social media,
email,
games, Pinterest, everything. I don't do work on my coaching business on that day. I'll go hang out with my friends. I'll go do stuff outside. I'll spend extra time with Jesus that day, that kind of thing. But the idea is that I'm not doing things for the purpose of being productive.
And how does that impact you, taking this Sabbath?
I'm still not very good at it. But when I actually like commit to doing it well, I wake up the next morning and I'm like, all right, let's do it. Let's go. It's currently typically on Saturdays right now because I work Sundays at a church. So, the idea is that Sunday is my work week and I get up and I'm like, okay, I'm ready to work this week. And I feel like I'm stealing this phrase from a book, but I feel like I am resting to then be able to go work rather than I'm working to earn my rest.
That's a real important transformation.
Yeah. Because if you work all week so that you can take it off on the weekends, it ends up just being a day off rather than I'm resting today so that I'll have the energy to do the rest of the week. So. But that's not my original. It's Subversive Sabbath is the name of the book. So I took that from him. That's awesome.
Well, thanks for sharing that. For people that are wrestling with burnout, is it hopeless?
No, it's not. It feels like it.
It does feel like it. When you're in it,
like
it seems like
sure.
it is.
Yeah. No, and I was actually just reading something the other day about burnout and that idea of like some people are just like, we just need to take time off. And, well, not everybody can stop working for months at a time, right? Because sometimes it takes a long time to recover from that.
Yeah.
Not everybody gets a sabbatical. Not even every pastor gets a sabbatical.
No.
And so I think that's part of why learning the practices that help you prevent it are really important. But it's not hopeless, but it does take help.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So what does the process look like recovering from a burnout?
It depends on the person,
Okay.
to some extent.
Sure.
I think you can start practicing things immediately that help, but you also need to go back to why did I get there?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what are the motivations and the mindsets that are driving me to work too much, or to believe that if I don't show up, the other person is going to fall apart.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So if you don't do that part, you're probably going to end up back in burnout again.
Mm-hmm. So that type of boundary work, what's me, what's not me, what's my responsibility, what's not my responsibility, what do I expect?
Yeah.
Those are all things that needs to be explored.
Yeah, and some of even like the soothing of, okay, I feel uncomfortable, right? I have uncomfortable emotions because someone is pushing on this boundary, or even I'm pushing on the boundary. What do I do with that? And that one's still hard for me sometimes too, of, wait a minute, I need to back up and say, like, why is this boundary being pushed on so uncomfortable for me? What's it hitting in me? Is there shame that's coming up? That kind of thing.
Yeah, many times I think people in burnout are saying my outside world's got to change.
Yeah.
But everything you're mentioning is about our inside world.
There's some that's outside world, right? Like if you literally check your email constantly, turn your email notifications off on your phone and tell your boss, I'm not going to check my email for this, time period.
Totally.
They'll probably be okay with it. If you haven't asked, you should ask.
Okay.
Right? And if they're not okay with it, that's something to consider.
Yeah.
So there are some external things.
So sometimes we do have to change external things.
Absolutely, yeah. There's definitely external things. And those are often really easy to slip back into. After COVID, I started checking my email every day because during COVID, we needed to check our email every day because how we did ministry constantly changed.
Yes, it did.
And then like a year later, I realized I'm answering emails and phone calls on the day I'm not supposed to be working. And my boss is calling me on the day I'm not supposed to be working. And I finally said, hey, you know what? I'm not going to answer my email between this hour and this hour. And he was like, oh, yeah, okay, great. I forgot that you said that a long time ago. Right?
So we sometimes also need to maintain and reinforce the boundaries that are necessary to live well.
Absolutely. So yes, a lot of it is external, but if you don't do the internal work too, the external is really hard to maintain. Like if you're trying to get fit and healthy, it's hard to be fit and healthy if you're not also feeding your body well. Similar idea.
Yeah, we live in a time where for so many, it seems like everything is urgent, everything is imminent. Got to deal with it right now. I'll sometimes, somewhat jokingly, but not really, say, unless there's blood or fire, probably we can wait to the right time for it.
Yeah, which I have a naturally a little bit slower pace to life, which drove my parents nuts.
Came pre-wired that way.
Yes, I did. I can sit on the beach for a week and do nothing and be perfectly happy, and they cannot. But so it comes more naturally for me to just be like, all right, I'm just gonna, you know what, they'll find out tomorrow. It'll be fine. But I know that's not how a lot of people are wired, and it's not how our culture sets us up.
For sure.
Our culture sets us up to be instant now. So.
Yeah, one of the things I find important for people, whether they're in burnout or not, is to recognize that like the literature is pretty robust now that with self-care, like anytime, if you say self-care, people usually think of, okay, I need to take 2 hours to go get a massage, or I need to take a couple hours to do this, that, or the other. But micro acts of self-care are just as profound and impactful to us as those big acts of self-care. And so if people can take 5 minutes, have a cup of tea that you really like, and just be present in the moment of what does it smell like, what does it taste like, and just really enjoy it, or go outside, take your shoes off, stand in the grass, let the sun hit your face for 3 minutes, and just be present. Like those little things, intentional over time, especially if you can put them into your schedule routinely, man, they add up to really big gains in the long run, and it helps you get back to, like you said, people are so, whether naturally or not, nowadays in our culture, so wired towards do, busy, that slowing down reminds your body and your brain that, like, oh wait, there's a different level I can get to that's really nice and calm, and you know, it's satisfying, even if it's only for 5 minutes.
Yep.
But there can be a real hook there. For many, self-care is interpreted as indulgence.
Yeah.
Or entitlement, or something that's out of bounds.
Yeah.
How do you help a person differentiate between self-care and indulgence?
I have one client in mind when I kind of think about this, because we're further down this process of working, and she's had a lot of other things that happened in her life that made it all even more overwhelming. But she started to explore hobbies again, and from the idea of, what do I actually enjoy doing outside of work? And then we started to add in, okay, so how, if painting is going to be a hobby for you, how can painting relate to what you're feeling? And I almost went back to, like, okay, with a kid, right, we'll have them draw a picture. I was like, just paint what you're feeling.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if it's a thing, just paint what you. And she came back one day, she said, you know what, I put on this song that was a favorite, and I just randomly started painting, and I felt so good when I was done. And it wasn't about the painting, it was about the emotions that she was letting out while she was painting. And I do think it takes some experimentation of what are the things, right? Yeah. Standing in the grass, being present, but something about painting helped her be present.
Yeah.
So there is some experimentation for you of what's going to be that thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not just indulgence. I mean, I'm all for, massages and spa days and things, but it's not all that, because that's not going to fix the inside part.
And part of it is connecting with, like, we talked about Sabbath and just understanding and recognizing that God's created us to work, most definitely, but He's also created us to take that time to connect with self, just relax, and to find those things that do bring an ability to calm ourselves, but also explore, what are we thinking, what are we feeling in these moments, and when people do find that, it's pretty awesome, because it really does help them function in life and thrive in life in a healthier way.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's where my making chocolate happens.
And we appreciate you making chocolate.
That is actually where it came from. I wanted to see if I could do it, and I realized how good I felt when I was done. And I was like,
yes,
okay, I like this. And so now
it makes you feel good, makes people that
right,
makes
other people feel good. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's one of those things where that's where that came from. It was a weird way for me to be creative. I have a lot of very creative people in my family, and I've always felt like that black sheep that's not. So I'm like, actually, I am. It's just with food.
And we appreciate that. St. Augustine, John Calvin, other church, our patriarchs have identified that connecting with ourselves or knowing ourselves and knowing God are interrelated. It's not an either or. And so as I'm listening to you describe these type of connectings with ourselves facilitates connecting with God facilitates connecting with ourselves. And so one of the ways we look at it is it indulgent. If it's only about me, and just like pleasure or tension reduction only, sometimes that can turn out to be fairly empty.
Yeah, definitely. I like to, and I also encourage other people to, how are you, like, what are you doing that for? You just said. Yes. I'm not making chocolate so I can sit around and eat it all day. I'm making chocolate so I can bless other people with it. So it actually also facilitates connecting with others.
Yes, it does.
But the idea isn't like, it's just because it tastes good. It taps into a creative part that's been created in me that is hard for me to tap into. And there was a time period in my life where I was trying to get to know me better and figure out who I was. And through that, I think it was David Benner, was who I was reading, and he has a book about knowing you and knowing God. And I was listening to that, and I was like, oh my gosh, the more I know me, I feel like I know God better. Yeah. And I feel like I can know other people better.
Yeah. Yes.
This is interesting. And that kind of was a place where it all started to click a little bit.
Yes, and so if we think about that burnout as I'm just so overwhelmed and now I'm isolated, I'm cut off, and I can't cope and I can't take anything else on, an antidote that we're talking about here, connecting with self, then connecting with others, connecting with God, connecting with self, it becomes so intertwined or interrelated that our capacities open up again. Uh-huh.
Yeah, you're not trying to carry it all by yourself.
Right.
At that point.
Yeah, David Venner, actually, he was the editor for first books that I wrote. And one of his books, The Gift of Being Yourself.
That is the book that
Yeah.
I got it from. Yep.
I encourage people to explore that. I think it's a real helpful work that he's offered us.
Yeah.
In that part of what contributes to burnout is not acknowledging I'm finite, not being real about myself.
Yeah.
Yes.
And, I'm not a big fan of being finite either. I always want to do more and have ideas I, can't quite reach. But the peace that comes with the connecting with who I am, who God is, who others are, that actually is comforting, facilitating living well.
Yeah.
Well, the fascinating thing about limitations is we're so reluctant to admit that we have them. But if we go back to the Jesus example, here's God incarnate, and he still doesn't do everything.
Right.
Like he had limitations
Yeah.
that he acknowledged and lived within. And
Yes.
why should we not expect ourselves to have equally, even more so, limitations? So
Yeah. That makes me think of a theological problem, really.
yeah,
Which isn't necessarily counseling, but that idea of because I have Jesus, I should be able to do everything.
Yeah.
But it also puts it, I should be able to do everything.
Yeah.
Yes.
Which gets us into the, are you doing it for you or are you doing it through God? Like, I can't change someone else. I can't change a client. They have to do the work, but there also has to be work from God in there. In their life too.
Yep.
Right.
Are you trusting yourself, or are you trusting that God's at work in you and the world at large?
Right.
Yep.
Right. I can't change the students that I work with. I can't get them to be the same person at church as they are at school.
No.
All I can do is be there for them, know them, give them a place that's safe, and hope that will hit their heart. But it's not my job to change their heart.
No. When we take responsibility for the outcome of others, we're out of bounds.
Yeah.
And it's exhausting.
Yeah, that much failure is exhausting. Separating acting in love versus trying to manipulate or control an outcome. We're not designed to be producers, we're called to love.
Yeah. And then we get into the now and not yet a little bit there of, I know what it's supposed to be, but it's not yet.
Right.
But it's also not my job to make it be there.
Right.
And success isn't for now.
Yeah.
Success is actually kingdom related future.
And so when we're faithful, we're in the right place. But we're not called to generate an outcome.
Yeah.
And that one way to assure burnout is demand the impossible of yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And that, if you think about even just trying to change a small habit,
Yeah.
you can burn out on changing a small habit by demanding, I'm going to work out every single day this year. 2 days in, you quit working out. Right? Like, that idea of the outcome is the point. It's not going to change why it was a problem to begin with.
Right. And that that generalizes to a lot of the work we do, that rather than just looking at the outcome, God looks at the inside while humans look at the outside. What's going on inside? What motivates us? When we can address motivations, we're far more likely to see lasting change.
Yeah. Which might actually be one of the hardest things about working with burnout, is that a lot of times at that point you're not even aware of what your motivations are yet.
Right. Many times I've observed in working with people in some serious burnout, they've got to get into a place where it's safe to be a person.
Yeah.
And when you say that the first time, they might, well, what do you mean, of course I'm a person? But you describe yourself as a production machine.
Yeah.
And so that relationship that develops in the counseling process is a very important part of the change process. Being known as a person, not a production machine.
Yeah, safe to have limitations.
Yeah.
And acknowledge that.
Or needs.
Or needs, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's safe to, even in ministry standpoint, it's safe to talk about the things that it's not safe to talk about. For a lot of
Or
people.
in many
Doubts.
relationships.
Well, yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Doubts, struggles within the church, because if you're on staff, you don't have anybody to talk to about that, typically. So, yeah, even that, just the safety.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of good topics, and a lot of different directions that we can go. And we'll definitely have you on in future episodes because these are topics, especially in ministry, that are always present almost, it seems like. And especially in a culture that is just so driven by production and, next day production, really. I can Amazon Prime whatever I want in my house, by 2 days from now, or if I hit it right, maybe even today.
I was just saying, if I can get it today, I'm going to go somewhere else.
So like these topics are not going away, and so we appreciate
thank you.
leaning into these areas because they're so important, especially for those in ministry. So
Thanks for having me.
yeah, we'll see you again.
All right, sounds good.
Yep.
We hope you enjoyed part 2 of our episode, or of our series, with Diana Sadler. That concludes this interview series. Her full episode will be released this coming Friday, and so if you enjoyed it and want to reference it or share it with other people, be sure to direct them to that or to both parts that you listen to. We're excited to announce the fact that starting next week, we're going to dive into a series of discussions on the topic of grief around the holidays. And so stay tuned for those as they're getting released in the weeks to come as we approach the holiday season. But until we see you again, take care, have a great day, and see you soon. Embracing New Life is a production of New Life Resources, a Christian counseling clinic in southeast Wisconsin, whose aim and goal since 1976 has been to provide high-quality professional counseling, psychological, and consulting services from within a Christian framework.